Hi, everyone, and welcome to session 3 of our Canva Tech Tuesday. Um, I'm not actually at school today. I have a little one who has been sick for quite a while, so I was not able to come in today, but I didn't want to mess anybody's schedule up, and I did have enough time to do a quick video for our session 3. So I decided to just go ahead and do that format for today. Hopefully that works for everybody. I know a lot of you guys are just watching the videos anyway because you're not always able to attend in person. All right, so I'm going to get us started. We are on session 3, which is all about project ideas and templates. So just a quick reminder that everything that I'm going to share, including this video and then links to all the resources that I will talk about, are housed in this slide that you can access at bit.ly/Canva Tech TUES. So that's how you can get back to all of the things that we talk about today. And then also a reminder that we have done 2 sessions previously. So we've already talked about getting started, and our last session was all about connecting your students. And we talked about a few just sort of startup templates that are great for just getting students kind of comfortable and familiar before you start diving deeper into using Canva in your classroom. So if you're fairly new to Canva, and you haven't watched those 2 previous sessions, it might be helpful for you to access those with that bit.ly link and watch those 2 previous sessions so you'll know where we're going today. All right, so we're going to move quickly through our stuff today, but we're going to be talking a little bit about, we'll start out with newsletters, and then I'm going to talk a little more about whiteboards and some tips for collaborative projects with your students, which is one option with Canva. We'll spend a lot of time looking at some project templates. I put together a list that is by no means all the things that you can do with Canva because there are just tons and tons and tons of things that you can do. But I put together a pretty good list of just some really good ideas for integrating Canva into your instruction and learning K2 and then also 3-5. And we'll look at just a few examples from those, and you'll have access to all of those templates. We're going to talk a little bit about Canva video editing, which is, I think, pretty amazing and the best editing tool that I have seen since iMovie, and it is free for us and iMovie is not. So it's amazing everything that you can do with Canva video editing. And then I'll leave you with some more project ideas if you want even more from some great online sources that I like to use when I'm looking for some other ideas. Okay, so just to start off, I'm not really going to spend a ton of time talking about newsletters, but I did want to make sure just to bring that up. I know that's not really something that your students use necessarily for learning, but it is a great way to maintain that communication with your students and with their parents. And Canva houses a really great library of newsletter options for you so that you can create a physical or a digital newsletter that you can send home. So don't forget about that. We talked a little bit about whiteboards in our last session, but I'm going to go into that one more time. So I actually, when this was going to be a live session, I had anticipated you guys being able to join a whiteboard and kind of collaborate with me. Obviously, we won't be able to do that in person, but you're welcome to still use this link and join and try it out if you would like. So Whiteboard is a fairly new feature that's been added to Canva. And what's really cool about it is where in the past, if you wanted to do something collaborative, like if you wanted to have your students do a collaborative brainstorm, or maybe they're going to explore stations and then you want them to answer a question that you pose to them, or to add their observations to a collaborative board, kind of how you would think if you use like Jamboard or Linoit or something like that in the past. So previously with Canva, you would have had to do that just by like creating a presentation or an infographic or a big poster or something, and then making that editable, which kind of limits the space and makes it much easier for kids to be kind of putting their responses on top of each other and everything. Now with whiteboards, you can create these really massive boards that have lots and lots of space for students to add their responses to. So I posed this question: what could you and or students use a collaborative whiteboard for? So if you want to go on and try it, you're welcome to. You can use this bit.ly and you can access it and try it out just to see how it works. I did put that reminder there that you can click the S key on your keyboard. That's a great thing for your students to know how to do. And they can add their response that way. So I'll say possibilities are endless. Notice it does automatically add my name there, which is a pretty cool little feature. However, if you didn't want your students to have their name, if you want it to be anonymous, they can click more and they can choose to remove their name. Also, once there are several stickies on the board, you can come up here and Canva. This is actually a little sneak peek into Canva AI, which we're going to get in our next session. But you can actually click up here and choose this sort, and it will give you different options for how to sort the responses. It can even kind of read them for you and sort them by topic. So kind of a cool feature there. Another cool thing to know about whiteboards is you can create your own, but also there are tons of whiteboard presentation templates that have already been created. So you can look into those, and let's say you find one you really like maybe I really like this writing brainstorm whiteboard. I can click customize the template, and then you'll see this little icon on the templates that are kind of customized or optimized for whiteboard use. The way you do that, and really you can kind of do this with any presentation, but some of them are sort of intended for it. But let's say like on this particular slide, we want to expand that to a whiteboard. I can just right click anywhere on the slide and then choose expand to whiteboard, and it's going to take that whole slide to a whiteboard for me. So now if I want it to become collaborative, I can click share. I need to change the collaboration link so anyone with the link can edit it. I can copy that link, and then I can send that whiteboard to my students via link. Probably on Clever would be a really easy way to do that, or through something like Google Classroom or Schoology, so that they can go on and we can collaborate together on it. One more thing that I was going to show as far as collaboration. One thing that you can do, you've probably done something very similar in Google Slides. One really great way to start having your students collaborate digitally is by doing something like shared slideshows, where maybe we're working together to add pieces of information about a topic, or something like we're doing research on a topic like animals, and maybe everyone has a different slide where they're going to talk about a different animal. So it's a really great way to start collaborating where we're working kind of together but separate, so that we're not having quite so much conflict. We have our own space, but it's still a joined project. Canva has a really cool feature called bulk create that makes it really easy to do that. I'm going to go into this video. I think it's going to show it better than I would. So that's another cool sort of tip for collaborating on projects with Canva. All right, we're going to jump right on down to some of those project templates that I created. So this link again is in the slideshow for you. It's going to take you to a different Canva poster that has some K2 and 3.5 projects. There are tons listed on here. There is not enough time for me to go through every single one. So I'm going to just pick out a few that I think are great ones just to kind of show as examples, but feel free to click in and play around with all of them. And again, this is not all the things that you can do with Canva. There are tons of other ways that you can use it for projects. So just one example, looking at K2, creating really a book about anything, but I did a number sense book as an example. So this is a great way for students to kind of house number sense activities. This one is just a very simple one where they are just drawing, or you could have them use elements to create models of these different numbers. But I could see that expanding to Canva within their elements has 10 frames that you can pull and use with your students. It could extend to addition, subtraction, any operation that you're working on. Just a great place for them to have their own little number sense space that's housing their learning and their mathematical fluency. Let's see. Let's also go into, I'm going to go into this animal research. I know a lot of you, especially in K2, do an animal research project. For a lot of you, it's one of the first times that your students get really into some digital skills. I think there are a lot of you that use Google Slides to do the project, which is fantastic. Google Slides are also something that students really need to become familiar with, and those are great skills to get them started with. You can also do that in a Canva presentation, a Canva slide, or this template is one that I tried out with a teacher a couple of years ago, and it's an interactive poster. So for this one, it's just kind of a very brief, what's your animal? A place for them to add their animal facts. And then this one encourages them to add audio using, I think we talked about this a little bit in one of the previous sessions, that when you go to uploads on the left, you can actually record a video or audio of yourself. So this one encourages them to add audio to their poster where they are explaining what their animal is and sharing the facts about their animal. It also has a place for them to add an image and a reference. So that's just another option for that animal research project. And then let's also do, I'm going to click into the postcard template that I created. I think this is a great one for our K that might be a little tough for K, but especially like getting into our first and second grade, for them to start even practicing what on earth it looks like when you're mailing something to someone. A lot of students have no idea how to do that. Probably some of our upper grade students would benefit from practicing with that. This one gives them, when you share it, these first two pages are locked. So it's just kind of a little silly example from Elmo to Big Bird of how you would address a postcard, adding a greeting to a postcard, the return address at the top, and then they get to design whatever they want their stamp to look like. And then they can design the front of the postcard. So helps students learn, too, about how when you're sending a postcard, usually it's representative of that place that you're sending the postcard from. That might also be something cool to integrate, like in a social studies unit where you've been talking about a particular location. And then the second two pages are editable. So they can come into these second two pages and they can edit it to be their own. So they can change it up to whatever they want it to say. So that's another cool one. There's lots of other ones listed on here. Comic strips are lots of fun, great writing practice, and it can go as simple as you want it to go. You can do lots of science diagrams. I think I did an example of the caterpillar to butterfly metamorphosis cycle on this one, but there's tons of ways to use science diagrams. We talked a little bit about greeting cards, maybe even integrating poems with greeting cards for students. Creating their own logo is a cool way to have them kind of do a little bit of reflection on themselves, creating a logo that represents them and writing a short bit about that, or maybe a storybook cover to illustrate a short story that they wrote. All right, let's hop over to 3.5. I'm going to pull up the story problems and models so that we're looking at a good math example in both. There's lots of ways that you could use Canva to integrate math. This was just one idea I had of helping students think through modeling and thinking through story problems, then also ultimately creating their own. So they have directions to read the problem, create some models to represent and then actually solve the problem. And then there are multiple different problems listed in this one. And then when we get down to the end, they are prompted to write their own story problem and then ask a friend to model and solve it for them. So just one example again of applying that math problem solving with Canva. Research presentations are an obvious great way to use it. That's a no-brainer. Science infographics are really an infographic for anything. I've seen lots of people make really good use of infographics in Canva. So if you just this is going to take you straight to a science infographic library, but students could look up an infographic on really any topic. It's a great way to kind of get their brain started if they have no idea where to start, and just also a great way to help them organize information. So infographics are a great way to present on any topic that you're studying. Students can represent their information with visuals. They can also even input links or even videos if you're going to be sharing the infographics digitally. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to also talk a little bit about GIFs because kids love these, and it's a great way to get them excited about lots of different topics. This first link is going to take you just to a little kind of flyer and example poster from Canva on creating GIFs. And it's really kind of there's open opportunity for what you could use these for. One example that I did was using it for vocab. So I'm going to show you, my daughter and I had some fun with this one last night. So I made a little vocab GIFs template. Put some directions on the first page. So you'll have your word, type your definition, use it in a sentence, and then illustrate it. And the important thing about a GIF is that they need to make sure that they're incorporating some kind of movement, or there's really no point for it. Really all that a GIF is, if you're not familiar, is it is an image that has movement. It's really a short video that's encoded like an image. So there's movement in it, and it's just going to constantly repeat itself over and over. So what's cool about them is that they can be input into a document. You can input a video into a document, but you're going to have to like click on a link or something to get that video to open somewhere and play, right? But a GIF is going to it will sit and play and continue over and over again. So they're really easy to display a lot of students' creations in one place and let them have movement and animation. So here's an example of one that we did. So we came up with our definition for accuse. We did an example of it being used in context, and then we created our illustration down here. And then I added animations using the little animate option up here. So when you click on an element, this one doesn't have animations on it. So you can see right here where it says animate. All of these have been animated. This one uses a custom animation. So students can choose that custom animation option. I'm going to click here just so you can see. It's up at the top. So when you're going to animate something, you can click custom. And it will allow you to drag the element wherever you want it to go. So you need to make sure if you're going to do a custom animation, you need to have it sitting wherever you want it to start because you're going to tell it where you want it to go during the animation. So this one, we did a custom animation to have sister come in and accuse little sister of destroying the bed. The way that you make it into a GIF is when you click share and you download. What you're going to do is you go to your file type option here and you can choose GIF. I think I'm going between saying GIF and GIF because I really don't know which one is right. So I just say whichever one comes out at the moment. So you will just choose that option. Now, when you choose it, it's Canva is going to automatically think that I want to save all my pages, and you might have a multitude of these that your students have created, and you want to download them all in a zip file so that you can do things with it, put it wherever you want. But if I just want that one that I just created, I'm going to make sure that I just check the box for that page 3 if that's the only one that I want to download. And then once you download it, you can put it wherever you want. So like, let's say I want to have this running document that shows all my students gifts, or maybe I want to go to a Google slide and I want to put one on each page, or maybe I'm going to house them on a website, or maybe you communicate with your parents with a website or with a virtual newsletter, and you want to be able to put one of your students' moving vocabulary gifts up for them to see. So you can insert it just like a regular image. And then once it's inserted, it's going to retain that animation and that movement, and it will just continue. So that's another really cool thing that students can make with Canva. Also on here, I have some examples I did a persuasive poster project with a 5th grade classroom recently, and that went really great. So I put that template here. Timelines is another great option. That's a great way to utilize it for social studies projects, or even for like planning or writing. A timeline is a great way to do that. And also map creation. Canva has lots of map templates pre-made that students can utilize if you have that kind of project going on in your classroom. And then down at the bottom, I have a couple of resources linked here on Canva virtual background videos. So the video editor in Canva is amazing, and that's what we're jumping to next. There are 2 links here, and I also have them linked on the resource guide. One of them is a how-to resource that I created. One is a project guide from Canva. So the how-to resource is from Canva. That's an example of how you can do virtual backgrounds. And then the project guide is from a project that I did last year with some 4th grade students. It takes them through how to create their own video and add their content, and even how to use the virtual background to create a green screen kind of effect without even needing to have a green screen. So you can access this from the help guide. It's also on Clever. This lives on Clever all the time, so it's really easy for students to pull up and use if you are wanting to do a video project like this and you think this resource would be helpful. So that being said, those are linked right here, but I do want to show really quickly how you can do that virtual background stuff with videos in Canva, and then just some video editing basics, because they have a great video editor. So let's see, let's get myself to Canva. All right, so I'm at the dashboard. I am going to create a video. So remember, I can go to create a design and choose it, or I've got the option to click video over here, and I just want to create a blank video. Now, what's really cool about videos in Canva, they're really easy for students to understand, because you build it pretty much the same way you build a slide. You can see down here, every time I want to add like a new scene to my video, I just add a new slide basically. And I can also change the length of them by pulling that end of the slide to adjust it to how many seconds I want that slide to be. So let's say that the project I did with students last year, they had done some research on Hurricane Katrina, and it was after a book study, and they were presenting a story that they had done on their own that included Hurricane Katrina. So they did that as videos. So what's really cool, like I mentioned before, is in Canva, it's super easy to record yourself, and then it's also super easy to create a virtual background. So I want to show you really quickly how to do that. So first off, students have to kind of decide what they want their backgrounds to be on each of their slides. So I'm going to go with hurricane, since that's on the brain. So notice when I search for it, we've got those graphics. They could add in different graphics if that's what they like. If they want to have realistic photos in their background, they can. Or they can even have videos, which is pretty cool to have moving videos in the background while you're speaking. So let's see. Oh, this is a pretty crazy one of like a hurricane happening behind me. So I'm going to put that one in. I can stretch it to cover my screen so that that's my background. And now if I want to appear talking in front of this, I can do that by going to Uploads. I'm going to choose to record myself. Now, this is where students are going to come to record audio too. So if they were ever just recording audio, but they don't want their face on the screen, they can always come right here and they can just turn their camera off. For this one, I want to leave my camera on because I'm going to use that virtual background. So I'm going to click record. You get that countdown. Okay, and so then now Canva is recording me talking about my topic. And when I'm finished speaking, I can click done. If they weren't happy with it, they can delete it. If they're happy, they can do save and exit. It's going to take it just a little time when we come back to update and be added. Okay, so right now I'm still that little circle down in the bottom. And if students want that, that's great. But they can also take that and do a couple different things with it. So when I click that ellipsis menu or more, one option that I have is to extract the audio. So if the student does not want to be seen, they just want to hear their voice, they can choose extract audio, and that's going to just pop their audio out and put it down below where you can hear them talking over. But what I want to do is detach the video because I want this to be kind of like a green screen effect. So I'm going to click detach video. And now I can delete this little frame down here. I don't need it. And just like you would do with a picture, you're going to use your background remover, but on a video. Okay. And then now I'm ready to put myself wherever I want to be, in the center, over on the side, whatever. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say about video that is really cool is in Canva, when you create a blank video, you can also go to projects, and that's going to pull up any previous projects that I have been working on. So if I know I want to have my students share about a project that they've done, I can click and pull up that project. So maybe they've created one of those butterfly diagrams and you want them to talk about it. So I can go ahead and pull that into my video, whatever I worked on, and now I can record over it myself explaining about my project. So that's another cool way to use it. All right, guys, I don't want to waste any more time, so I am not going to actually click into these last two links on number 4. But if you would like to learn about even more great ways to use Canva, two of my favorite resources for Canva ideas are the Merrill's EDU site and Ditch That Textbook. So I've linked those here straight to their Canva project pages if you want to look a little deeper into those. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for session 3. At session 4 in a couple weeks, we will be doing our first of our AI Magic Studio exploration of Canva. There are tons of really cool artificial intelligence features that allow you and your students to do some pretty cool stuff. So we're going to start looking at that in our next session. All right, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.